Welcome everybody who has jumped on right on time at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time and 10 a.m. Mountain Time. I'm Stephanie Brown, founder of Intelligent Construction Opportunities. And Intelligent Construction Opportunities facilitates these conversations so construction professionals can understand the automations that are developed to support their construction projects. In addition to moderating our live streams, ICO helps the construction industry select their software technologies. Today, our guest is Vic Yadav, project manager with Tracecost. Tracecost has built a modularized enterprise-level platform that includes modules for your supplier platform, your document management, quality controls, health and safety, and invoicing. And that's just scraping the surface. They really are an end-to-end platform that has been built for the enterprise construction community. So welcome, Vic.
Thank you so much, Stephanie, and good morning and good afternoon, everyone. I hope you are having a great time. So I'm from Tracecost, and we are a construction and project management platform. We have a gamut of 11 modules which cover your entire life cycle of the project, starting from mobilization to your safety, quality, procurement, daily productivity, and where you have to hand over the site. At the demobilization, we cover all. But today specifically, we would be talking about the health and safety, which is causing a lot of chaos in the industry these days. So
yes, every day I get reports. I'm based out of Toronto, Ontario, and I get reports from the ministry every day, and it's absolutely tragic how easily these safety issues happen on a site and result in write-out deaths. So today we are going to go through how Tracecost can actually help to mitigate these risks and these deaths and make that site safer. We've got a number of slides here that have actual statistics on them, but I'll let you, Vic, decide, how much we want to actually show those as we sort of go through one by one. We've got 5 areas here. If you're struggling with mismanaged site safety, what do you mean exactly by that, Vic?
Right. So on the construction site, a lot of things are happening, and sometimes the site supervisor is not able to track all the safety aspects. For example, fall protection or electrocution protection, right? So for that, we have developed a solution which covers every single aspect, starting from where you go on the site and you have your toolbox talks. So apart from a conventional pen and paper method where you would be handing a document to each of the individual crew member, you can simply send out documents on their mobile application, and then they would be able to read it, sign off, and then the approval goes to the site in charge. They'd be able to see that, there was a successful toolbox. Everybody knows what we have to do, what is the goal for the day, and how we are able to achieve our goal, being safe and secure on the site.
And do you have ways that you actually make these confirmations between, I'll say, the site superintendent that's holding that toolbox talk with, say, an arbitrary new member of, I'll say, any part of the electrical crew? He's a new guy on site. He doesn't know the contractor he's working with. He only takes his marching orders, I'll say, from his foreman. So can you lay out a little bit what that workflow might look like?
Absolutely. So for example, if there's a new joinee, before he enters the site supervisor or the safety supervisor would be able to send him training manuals that he can download through his mobile application, give it a read, and once he has completed, he can sign it off, so the supervisor knows that this person is now ready to go on the site, and then they can conduct the toolbox. Now he's well equipped, well protected on the site. He knows what are the safety hazard that could be on the site. So
okay. Yeah. And are there also ways that after that particular tradesperson has, signed off, I'm going to say supposedly read it, because we don't always know the thoroughness of it. And this is, I think, part of the disconnect. So how do you bring in that element with the actual, I'll say, confirmation of training and anything else that makes sure that a week later, 2 weeks later, a month later on the job, that individual is still adhering to the safety procedures?
Absolutely. So I'm proud to tell you that Tracecost Environmental Health and Safety module has 16 submodules that covers your entire training, your documentation, your submittals. So whenever you're passing on any document to any individual, for example, let's say training, when they've completed the training 100%, the site supervisor will get an automated notification. So they know now the person has completed the training. After the training, when they're working on the site and there's any incident happened on the site, so the site supervisor and the company would be well protected because they would have all the archives, all the documents that have been provided to an individual, which will state that enough training has been provided, the personal protective equipments have been provided to the individual. If there is any negligence, that is not because of lack of training or any safety equipments. That is because of the individual's negligence. Now, to take care of that, there is a process within the system where you can investigate the reason of the negligence, and then you can retrain them. You can find out what was the particular cause of the negligence. Were they intoxicated? Were they being ignorant on the site? So you can explore all the reasons through the form. It's a simple form that you fill, and then keep a record for your future correspondences.
Good, very good, very good. And how far to the back office does this information reach?
Yeah, so the whole and sole purpose of this application or the software is to keep the site and the office connected. So whatever is happening in the site, the managers, the construction manager or the project manager would have full access. They would be able to go through daily, weekly, monthly safety reports. They would be able to see the audits that have been performed. If there is any unsafe observation, the site supervisor can send a notification to the project manager or to the construction manager. So everybody is well connected within the horizon of a project.
And I see on this particular slide that we're talking about role-based authorization. So can you sort of give us just a handful of people that absolutely have to have this perspective as a part of their Tracecost application, and those that might be a nice to have?
Absolutely. I think role-based authorization is important in every company. For example, a person who's working at the very bottom, they're the frontliners. There should be somebody who's governing them. So when there is any audit happening, so through the automated messaging and automated notification, it will go to every single individual who's in the hierarchy of the organization, and they would be able to have more control. For example, a construction manager would have more control. They would be able to create the forms, customize the form, whereas the end user can only fill the form. So, there is no duplicacy of the data.
And this is happening all on a mobile app. Is most of this correspondence back and forth done vis-a-vis email, or is there also a text portion to it to make it more accessible?
So most of because we are mobile first, that's our approach. Most of the
Good. That's
communication,
very good.
yes. So most of the communication is happening over the mobile application. So the person who's working on the site, they don't have to always carry a laptop, but we are hosted on web as well as on the app mobile application. So like however you are comfortable, you can use it. For creating forms, you need to go on the web application. That could be done by the person who's sitting in the office. But to fill in the form, you just need a mobile application with your right or left thumb. You can simply fill in the form, do your digital signature, and pass it on to your upper management.
Very good. And I want to let our listeners know that Vic and I will be following up with your opportunity to have a custom demo for yourself. If you are looking for this kind of an enablement, this automation enablement that is very modular by Tracecost, but specifically looking for something that is employee health and safety related, that does a deeper dive for you in terms of your document management and your insurance and all of those things that tie around this bigger issue. I just want to let our audience know that after this live stream, we will be enabling that fact.
Absolutely. And I also like to highlight that the platform is not just for, passing on the documents or storing the documents. It also does predictive analysis. For example, if there is a constant injury is happening on a particular activity, once you have completed a couple of projects in the system will start throwing you recommendation that this particular activity has a higher chances of getting your people or getting your crew injured. So you're secured before you go on the site. You know what is going to happen, and then you take precautionary actions, being well protected, having your hard hats, your fall arrest system, and all sort of your protective gears.
Very good. And so I brought up the dashboard slide. I'm interested to know, so what are the high level things that anyone, I'll say with the right permissions, I'll say with a managerial permission, would have access to the dashboards? What kind of things in this particular module are available on that dashboard?
Right. So to break it down, we have three layers of report. First would be the dashboard, which could be used by upper management, where within 30 seconds, just within 30 seconds, they'd be able to get a glimpse of where the project is heading in terms of safety. For example, if you look on the map, there are a couple of dots and they're blue, which shows that the site or your job site are secured. If it turns red and it turns bigger, you know that there are a lot of safety accidents or incidents are happening. If you look right at the bottom of the maps, you'll see a human body diagram,
Yeah.
which shows certain markations on it. So that is the count of the injury that is happening on a particular project on the body parts of the employees. So you'd be able to know which body part should be covered. You need to wear safety vest. You need to wear protective shoes on the side, as you're able to see the foot portion is turned red. Now, if you look at the center of screen, you'd be able to get a matrix where you'd be able to know what are the activities and what are the number of injuries or accidents that have happened on the site. If you look a little right, you'd be able to see a diagram, a Venn diagram. So it shows you what is the activity that is causing the frequent injury to the site. So it is the same information reflected in different point of views. So you get a complete understanding of where your projects are heading. Apart from that, we have 50 plus of Excel reports, which could be used by the mid management. So they can get into more details and be more granular and track not just the project wise, but the activity wise reports as well. Then we do 3-layer audits as well that could capture more higher level details of the site safety aspect.
And this is what Vic and I would like to show off in a future demo for those that are interested, that actually takes a workflow. So we'll take a scenario of, a particular kind of a project with particular kind of workforce for a particular task that has to be completed that day, and how does that match up and align with Tracecost module, so that we can really make safety become a real live, almost a monitored environment, because how else are we going to start to use technology to save lives that happen? And partially, yes, it's a lack of training, but there's a lot of pressures, as we all know, on the job site, and sometimes people react in the minute. I believe, Vic, I'm just going to go through here. You have a slide here, which, basically not only talks about the statistics and what happens, but that, basically this worker died in New York because of how they didn't respond to the machinery. And a lot of the machinery seems to be the problem. It's mismanagement or misuse of machinery that can happen in a second. And so in the demo, we'd want to tie back, exactly what that workflow could look like so that our audience really understands how Tracecost module can be applied to their safety issues.
Right. I'll give you a real life example. When I was working on a construction site as a project coordinator, so there was a new hire, a new crew, and then he was given enough training. Toolbox talks was done before entering the site, but the person was not wearing a safety harness or the fall protection. And because of everything was happening on pen and paper, the site in charge asked for a height work permit, but they did not get because of the delay in approval. So when the person went on the site, it was unfortunate they slipped and they got injured. Now, because when the investigation happened, the client said that there wasn't any work permit procured and the contractor was at fault. However, they've already filed for the work permit. Now, if you have something like Tracecost, you can simply create a work permit, send it for the approval to your client, and they would be able to respond within 15 minutes or as fast as they can, because there'd be automated notifications for them which could be set based on the criticality by the site crews. So if you have a documentation, you have automated processes, you'd be able to well protect it. So
Okay, well described. Well described. So, as I said, indeed, people can request a personal demo. We'll have a conversation with you so that it becomes a very real idea for you. So, I kind of want to get into a few other questions. So, what inspired Tracecost to include the safety module when you were putting together this platform? What made you decide you were going to do it, and how did you go about actually building it out? Do you have a catalog of incidents, or maybe you can describe a little more about that?
absolutely. So, for every project success, the most crucial part is safety, because if you're not conducting the safety or taking it seriously, there would be incidents or accidents that will happen in your job site, which will cause delays because your crew would fall sick, they would take day offs, and then your work would suffer. You'll run behind your schedule, you'll lose, and then in case if you're not able to track your documentation, and in case any accidents happen, the company would be would be liable to the lawsuits, and they would lose a lot of money, and which is a real scenario is happening within the industry. Based on a report by the Bureau of Labor Statistics, every year thousands of construction workers they die, and one third of the reason is the fall, because the fall protection is not there. They're not following the compliances, they're not following the norms, and there's nobody who can actually track it on the site. So based on this problem statement, we came across a solution where we designed environmental health and safety, which covers every single aspect, starting from your recording any observation, unsafe observation on your site, your incident, the investigation for them, work permit can be procured easily. You can click any pictures if you see any unsafe activity and send it to the upper management for review. Safety audits were conducted to help secure the sites in a far better way than we were doing previously.
Very good. And I've got Ash has got a question which sort of goes on to the demo idea. Can companies tailor the Tracecost safety module? How would you answer that, Vic?
Absolutely. So we at Tracecost understand that every company has their independent and individual workflows, and we are happy to configure and customize the templates based on their workflows. Although most of the templates can be created easily, but if they require any specific changes, then we would be happily able to execute it.
Very good. So when you're talking about mitigating risks, who actually is involved in this kind of a workflow? Do you have risk managers working with it? Are they safety officers? When you're actually trying to set up a risk mitigation plan, can you address a little bit about what that actually looks like as applied to this module?
Absolutely. So in Tracecost, we believe that safety doesn't is not a responsibility of an individual. It's a responsibility of the entire project team, entire crew who's working on the site. So there is an access with every single individual on the site, even at the frontline workers. If they see any unsafe observation on work permit need to be procured, they can do it. But there has to be one moderator who can make sure that everything is working in a proper way, in a proper channel. So for that, site safety is or site safety in charge is a crucial member. That is required for the execution in Tracecost. So if there's any request, any observation, any compliance needs to be done, that goes through the site safety and then reaches to the higher level of authorities.
So here's a question I'm going to throw out at you. How does Tracecost stay up to date on safety regulations and making sure that there's alignment again with this module?
Absolutely. So this particular module is in compliance with OSHA, and then we follow their regulations and design the workflow based on that. So we're always making sure that if there's any changes in OSHA's regulation, we're updated and putting it into the system. So our clients, they always stay one step ahead of their competitors in terms of safety.
Well, all I can say is I would hope that OSHA was your North Star. So I want to talk a little bit about integrations. Because Tracecost is an end-to-end platform, there are every module, starting out from your supply portal all the way through to invoicing in the back office, quality control, what have you, all that stuff in between. From an integrations perspective, what integrations have you found your clients wanting to have Tracecost integrate with?
Right. So most of the clients put a request for the integration with their financial tools, Sage 50 or QuickBooks. But we also integrate with most of the major legacy system, for example, scheduling softwares, Microsoft Project or Primavera. Also, there's an inbuilt integration for emails. So there's a push notification on the app as well, but there is an integration so you can receive the same notification on your email. That could be easily done. But if there's any specific requirement for a client, we have open APIs and we integrate with most of the systems.
Can you explain for our audience what an open API is? To me, it's a term that's thrown around a lot in the tech world, but I'm not so sure it's always understood by construction professionals. So could you explain that for our audience?
Yeah, so API is the application programming interface, and an open API means that you're able to connect. For you, you can take an example of an open plug. So you can, through the integration, you can connect to application and then transfer the data to and fro. For example, if it's an accounting software, then through the integration, the data can flow to our system, and then with the developments of the project, data could flow back into their accounting system for their payables, for their billings. So
okay,
yes.
All right. And I mean, you did mention a few of the large players there on the financial management side. Are you also, do you have any specific partners that you work with? Could you name who those partners are in terms of your integrators?
Yes, so we are officially SAP partners and we are listed on their store as well. So whatever integration has to be done through SAP can be smoothly done.
Okay.
Right? Yeah.
Okay. All right. And again, getting back to that potential custom demo that anyone in the audience may want to have, that's the kind of thing we need to know. Are the kind of integrations that are important to you, what you're using now, what is in scope for Tracecost, and what might not be applicable if Tracecost was a choice that you wanted. And I also think it's important to mention that Tracecost, I would say their ideal candidate is more along an enterprise size. So Vic, do you want to speak a little bit to what size you consider enterprise? How many projects are they managing at a time? What those costs might be, and even the kinds of projects those might be.
Right. So enterprise customer would be an ideal fit, but we don't want to box ourselves. We're working with the smaller contractors as well, which have only a team of 5 to 6 people. They came up with the problem that their safety forms they were still recording it on pen and paper. So we created custom forms for them, and now they're happily using it and then securing their site, recording all the toolbox talks, all the pre-site inspection, post-site inspection. However, it's convenient for an enterprise customer to use software because they have respective people in places who are monitoring the software or monitoring the developments in the software. For example, if you have a designated site supervisor, you'll be able to record all the observation, all the data can be monitored through the particular individual.
Okay. So because there's a lot of, I'll say, sensitive information going back and forth, how does Tracecost employ and secure the privacy of sensitive data that, how does that work? I'll say in the big scope, how do you protect it? And then from communication to communication, depending on that permission job role.
Right. To start with, we are hosted on AWS cloud, and which is one of the most secure system. And to enhance the security further, whatever the data that we're receiving from the client is end-to-end encryption. So even we don't have the access to client's data. And then to run our business, we do not sell data to any of the third-party companies. So that way, your data is secured with us.
All right. Ash has another question. How user-friendly is the Tracecost safety module? And obviously steps to, he's saying easy adoption. I don't know if there's such a thing in construction, but can you address Ash's question?
Absolutely. Now, easy adoption. So construction industry, there are two least digitalized industry. One is construction and other is agriculture. So penetration is really difficult. But if you're able to use your phone for making calls or using social media, then you would be easily able to use Tracecost because you don't have to type anything manually. All the options are drop down. So you simply click a couple of drop downs and then click, couple of pictures, and then send it across. So the software is designed in a user-friendly way that you can use it with your one hand and a thumb, and you're good to go.
Now, I wonder, technology in construction particularly keeps evolving. Everybody knows, everybody talks AI, ChatGPT, so on and so forth. How on Tracecost roadmap does AI fit into that big picture in predictive analysis? And what can somebody that was to purchase your platform expect from Tracecost in the next, I'll say 1 to 2 years? I wouldn't dare ask any longer.
Right. I'm glad to answer this question. So the platform which is currently running is working on machine learning. So that is the reason why we are able to give you predictive analysis of the forthcoming incidents or accidents. Also, we have integrated with Boston Dynamics. So if you're working on a remote site where it's not safe for a human to go, and if you want to conduct your safety assessment, you can send out Boston Dynamics drones or robots, which is called, there's a robo called Spot. So it goes on the site, collects all the observations, clicks pictures, and then we integrate all the data from Spot to our system. So we were actually ahead for most of our competitors in terms of machine learning or artificial intelligence. We are using it to the fullest.
Well, that's very good. And I think that's you bring up Spot, and everybody in the audience that is familiar with Spot, the robot. It's a very expensive undertaking. So that does, I think, hit on the fact again that enterprise there would be a lot of value for enterprise organizations to consider Tracecost. Now, when we talk enterprise, what size of company in terms of perhaps I'll say the number of employees they have on that are on their payroll versus those that are subcontracted, and how many projects do you think somebody would be running in order to take the full advantage of the end-to-end Tracecost platform?
So I don't want to keep it into numbers. For example, I don't want to say that a company which has 50 number of employees would be a good fit. I'd say company which has a full set organizational structure would be a good fit. But talking about enterprise, any company which has 50 to n number of employees would be a great fit for using Tracecost. But even the smaller contractors
Yeah,
can get
as you said, modular. Well, that's why you
yes,
built the system modularly,
modular.
which I have to say, if you're going to build an end-to-end platform, in my opinion, in my own experience, there is no better way than to do it modularly. That way, anybody, enterprise or a supposed SMB, can take advantage of it. I'll say one bite at a time and see how that module works for them, and
Absolutely.
actually provides them with a worthwhile outcome on the site, and in this case for employee health and safety. As far as the modules are concerned, aside from this module, which I think should be obviously at the top of the heap, I don't think anyone would disagree. What would be the next two modules that you think of your platform are most important?
I'd say not just for the platform, but for the construction industry as a whole, quality management is one of the most crucial aspect. So I'd say quality, and then your purchase process could be one where you're purchasing or procuring the inventory, making a track that you have enough materials, and then you are transferring all the equipments or materials to the clients as well. So I'd say purchase would be another important aspect in construction industry or in trace cost.
Okay. Well, I think we're gonna be close to wrapping up. I want people to know that Intelligent Construction Opportunities is here to help you to select your particular technology. But I just want to ask you, Vic, aside from Tracecost, what are your favorite applications that you use outside of things that are related to construction work per se?
Um, so we have designed Tracecost in a way that I don't have to go out and look for any other application specifically for construction. But if you'll ask me in general, then I
Yeah, I'm
use Link.
asking you in general.
Yeah, so
What are those
I
applications?
yeah, so I use LinkedIn a lot, and apart from that, if I have some spare time, then I prefer to use social media platforms like Facebook, and then there's another which is called WhatsApp. So they help me keep connected with friends and families and colleagues, ex-colleagues. So yeah.
Well, that's good to know, because WhatsApp is certainly, I think, one of the more immediate apps that I'll say contractors just starting out tend to use automatically. And I think Facebook is kind of ubiquitous with people and their families. So does Tracecost have its own site on its own group on Facebook, or is this personal you're talking?
No, it's personal that I'm talking, but we are on LinkedIn with good presence. So if anybody would like to know more about Tracecost, they can go on our LinkedIn page, read, and then they can go on our website as well to get more information. Also, they can contact me or any member of our teams to have a one-to-one interaction where we can throw more lights on the subject or our modules, which can help them optimize their process and enhance their business in a better way.
And for our audience, that's the whole point of Vic and I putting on this particular live stream today, and any ones we did previously or may do in the future, is to work together to make sure that people understand not only what's available, but how it's applicable to them and their jobs and their projects and their challenges. So I think with that, I'm just going to quickly, I have a little commercial that I leave people with at the end of our live streams. But I want to thank everybody for taking the time to hop on. Vic, it's tremendous talking with you. Leading up to our preparation here, I think I learned a lot about more about Tracecost and more about you. And I think we have to kind of start on a personal level to build the trust,
Right.
and for people to understand that there are a lot of things that people can use on job sites to help them, and the bottom line is everybody's looking to get a paycheck and go home safely at the end of the day. So with that, I'm going to call it a wrap.
Thank you so much, Stephanie, for being a wonderful host. It was great talking to you. I hope
Same
our,
here. Same
yeah,
here, Vic. And here we go. And everybody take care, and we will be in touch with those that registered or those that are interested to further a conversation with myself and Tracecost. Thank you again, Vic.
Thank you so much, Stephanie. Thank you everyone for joining the webinar today. Have a great